The highly awaited final declaration of the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has been made public in Cameroon on the African Cup of Nations 2021 to be or not to be across the Republic of Cameroon. Responding to the question today, the nation's political capital city Yaoundé, CAF's president Patrice Motsepe, after a strategic meeting with key stakeholders in Cameroon, said, and I quote, on the 9th of January, we will kick off. Details in this edition of the news, and also we shall be telling you that the Northwest Regional Assembly has gone on its ordinary session without the vice president, who is also a traditional ruler. He was kidnapped by unidentified individuals. He is still in captivity. And also in this edition, one person has died and several others severely wounded in a road accident in Lohe. Lohe is a locality in the Mungo of the littoral region of Cameroon. Many say it's a chain of road accidents linked to end-of-year festivities that has already started on major highways across the Republic of Cameroon. Thanks for choosing to get connected to Equinoxe Television. You're on to the primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. We're live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city. Equinoxe Central News Desk. Show Sport is the major news events across Cameroon, but there are also major news stories. We shall be starting on human interest to say that one person has unfortunately died and several others severely wounded in a road accident this morning in Lohe, a locality in the Mungo division of the littoral region of Cameroon. That is on the national road number 5. The accident resulted from a head-on collision between a private vehicle and a vehicle that was transporting individuals from that part of the country to the economic capital city. Our reporter Mala Glory takes us on the sad story.
A public transport vehicle in a state of non-repair and a private vehicle halfway gone. These vehicles were involved in an accident which occurred this Tuesday morning at about 7 a.m. in Lohe, the Mungo division of the littoral region, on the national road number 5. The public transport vehicle, which was leaving Kansamba to Douala, collided with a private car heading to Tombel. One person died on the spot and many others injured. I was on my way back from the village on this same national road. The bus was right in front of me. This bus was leaving Kansamba to Douala. Suddenly, the rough cat drove from the left side of the road right with the bus on the right side. We don't know what exactly, but the private car was. According to some of the victims, they were traveling for a Christmas break, just like this man who was going for his marriage introduction. Unfortunately, lost his caretaker on the way.
Well, from Yaoundé, we will drop in Konsamba. From there, we'll take a car to come to Loum so that we can go to Tombe. So in between Loum, we had an accident. I was sitting with people. Probably that is my father and Yaoundé died. There was a girl beside Pawile too. I don't know, maybe they have taken her in the hospital. I'm going to Ngusi. So I'm feeling my chest paining me. My chest, my leg. It's only there that I'm feeling pains for now.
According to the people, this accident is due to reckless driving caused by the owner of this private vehicle. Security officials were present on the site to investigate the damages. The injured persons were taken to the hospitals, and while on the way, 2 other persons died.
The senior divisional officer for the Mungo division, we are not leaving the Mungo of the littoral region yet in this edition of the news. The SDO for that administrative unit, Yves Bertrand Jana, has called on security officials of the area to be immune to sleep in order to continuously watch over inhabitants and the population of the Mungo division, especially during this festive period. He said that security officials have an important role to play on the security of persons and their properties across the Mungo division, but also the safety of those traveling across the Mungo to the west, northwest, littoral and the rest of Cameroon. Yves Bertrand Jana was speaking during a security and administrative coordination meeting of the Mungo division. Our reporter Immaculate Fogwe has the rest in the story.
The year wraps up, it was necessary to make an evaluation and take measures during this festive and AFCON periods. This was the foundation of the Administrative Security Coordination Meeting that held December 20 to the 21st in Lum, Mungo Division of the Littoral Region, grouping all 13 divisional officers and mayors, divisional delegates and others chaired by the senior divisional officer, Yves Bertrand Jana. Several issues were raised, including security, health, transport, water, electricity crisis and others. While giving testimonies on the different crises they face, participants nursed expectations a quick solution is reached. On his part, the SDO urged the various actors to monitor and ensure the populations are not exploited by whosoever during this festive period in terms of purchase of goods at exorbitant prices.
Des prix relevés sur le marché nous ont fait constater la hausse de certains prix.
Also to ensure their security is guaranteed and their general ones satisfied.
Nous allons engager les autorités administratives à tout mettre en œuvre pour rassurer, garantir aux populations la paix et la sécurité dont elles ont besoin.
To this effect, leave and permissions have been suspended until end of the AFCON. The divisional delegates of water and energy resources and ENIO and Kamwater officials have been particularly urged to ensure their services are constant to the benefit of the population. To mayors, these are good orders that will be frustrated by the ineffective decentralization process in Cameroon.
Donc à la fin, on ne comprend plus rien. Pourtant, les textes sont clairs et...
And now, you remember that the senior divisional officer, Yves Bertrand Jana, was also conscious of the hiking prices of basic commodities across Cameroon and also in several towns and cities of the Mungo division, moving from the city of Nkonsamba to towns like Mbanga, Lom, Penja, and also Melong. So he used that administrative and security coordination meeting to call on stakeholders in charge of or directly in charge of the regulation of prices of basic goods to be conscious and also ensure that the people of the area do not suffer the hike in prices currently witnessed, and the hiking prices is affecting inhabitants of the economic capital city Douala. In several markets in the city, goods are said to be increasing, as Immaculate Fogwe made a round of some of the strategic markets of the economic capital city and compared the following report.
A poultry farm in the Pekardisnev neighborhood in Douala. The occupants are absent. This farm has been empty for close to a month. This is a picture of many poultry farms across the Republic of Cameroon. Thus, the increase in price of chicken in the market. The scarcity of a day-old chick has been blamed for the price hike. The government has been struggling hard to discourage the importation of frozen chicken. But from what is happening now, there is a high possibility that Cameroon will have to rely on frozen chicken. The scarcity of a day-old chick is the major cause. Poultry farmers in Cameroon also decry the scarcity and continuous rise in the price of maize and soya beans, stressing that it is posing a major threat to their businesses and food security in the country. There is limited feed available in markets. When we complain to local companies producing the feed, they say it is because maize is expensive. We used to buy a kilogram of maize for 150 francs, but now it costs 200 francs, while a kilogram of soya beans used to be sold for 250 francs. Now it costs 450 francs. The rising cost of chicken is not only affecting the investments of poultry farmers, but also other players in the value chain, thus plunging the economy into deeper crisis. Poultry farmers' associations urge the government to authorize the importation of a day-old chick in the country. Chicken, which is one of the dishes largely consumed during the festive period, may have to be set aside by some households due to the price hike.
Immaculate Fogwe was rather concerned on the prices of chicken and some basic commodities in the west region of Cameroon. It is the same case across the economic capital city and also in Yaoundé, Cameroon. We shall be discussing this with our guests on today's edition of Talking Points. But it is important for us to tell you on this note that the Northwest Regional Assembly has begun, or members and councillors of the Northwest Regional Assembly have started sitting for the Northwest Regional Council budgetary session for the year, and the sitting began in the Northwest Regional Chieftain Bamenda, but unfortunately with the absence of the Vice President of the Northwest Regional Assembly, who also doubles as the President of the Northwest House of Traditional Rulers, from Kevin Mbo Yakum of Bambalang in the Ngokitunja of the Northwest region of Cameroon. Remember that he was kidnapped by yet to be identified individuals but suspected separatist fighters on the 7th of December 2021, and of course he is yet to be found according to local reports. But we will stay in the Northwest region of Cameroon to take on these other reports from our Northwest Regional Chief Town Correspondent Bustela, who says 2 kids have been rescued by the population from torture in the hands of some individuals in Sisia. Sisia is a neighborhood in the Bamenda 3 municipality. The prime suspect is said to have been subjected to the children through repeated torture. Her report. And of course, unfortunately, we shall be coming back to that report, but we are telling you about the events that are started in Bamenda today with the absence of the Vice President and the Regional President of the House of Chiefs. But time for us to talk sports, which is one of our top stories, to say that the President of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, has compared the challenges faced by some sporting infrastructures in Cameroon to that of Wembley in England. Speaking after a strategic meeting with stakeholders today in Yaoundé, Dr. Patrice Motsepe said that he has had the opportunity to watch matches at Wembley and there is no perfect sport infrastructure. He was saying that to say that the Confederation of African Football, CAF, is reiterating its stand and position that the AFCON 2021 will be in Cameroon. Dr. Patrice Motsepe said, and I quote, "On the 9th of January, we will kick off." Take a listen to him in the following extract.
Look at what has happened at Arab Cup. There were thousands of spectators. I went to Wembley to watch the European Cup final. You know, we must always identify problems and challenges and not shy away from them. But we must also have the confidence and the belief that we can overcome them and deal with them in a responsible and accountable manner. So we have said, nobody will be allowed into the stadium without a PCR test because we have to protect those spectators who will be there. And of course, there's a concern that there'll be lots of fake tests going around. We are dealing with those issues because I will be getting a report after the AFCON. And one of the things we know is that the experiences of our people are very important. You cannot fool people. If there are problems that people have identified and problems that people have experienced and we have not dealt with those, they will legitimately identify those. But we have to have confidence and belief in ourselves as Africans. And we have to have confidence and belief in ourselves that we can host a very successful AFCON 2021 in Cameroon that will make the people of Cameroon proud and make the people of on the 9th of January, we will kick off.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. You have talked about.
And still in sport, on our special AFCON page, the road to the African Cup of Nations, we shall be giving you the latest details about the Africa Cup of Nations Cameroon 2021. In this maiden edition of that page, our sportsman's Magic and Gabriel will be telling us that not all coaches that had the opportunity to qualify their teams to the sporting event will be present in Cameroon.
Appointed in 2016 by the Nigerian Football Federation, German tactician Gernot Rohr will not be part of the Super Eagles delegation that will be in Cameroon in the days ahead to participate at the 33rd edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. Even though Gernot Rohr helped the Super Eagles to qualify for the tournament without registering a single defeat, the German tactician was fired because of the poor performance of his team during the first round matches of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, which saw Nigeria begging for a draw against Cape Verde at home and a shocking defeat in the hands of Central African Republic. Gernot Rohr had the record of being the longest serving manager within the ranks of the Super Eagles, spending 64 months. Augustine Owen Eguavon, technical director at the NFF, will take care of the Super Eagles during the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. He might be accompanied by the new head coach of the Super Eagles, Portuguese-born Jose Pesiado, who is set to take over from Austin Owen Eguavon after the Nations Cup. Nigeria is lost in Group D alongside Egypt, Sudan and Guinea-Bissau.
Coming up is Talking Point. Today we are receiving a civil society actor. We are receiving Sonderi. Sonderi, thanks for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much for me, Armstrong Sanda, for inviting me. Thanks to the management of Equinoxe for their wonderful job.
Sonderi, news in Cameroon is dominated by sports. The AFCON to be or not to be in Cameroon, we've just had one of the highly awaited declarations from the number one man of the Confederation of African Football, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, after a strategic meeting in Yaoundé today. He said, and I quoted in the course of my newscast, on the 9th of January, we will kick off.
Of course, he said on the 9th of January, they will kick up and he will be there on the 7th of January. You know, football is a game of passion. And of course, we wish to host the competition. It's a passion that we all want to experience. Everybody wants to enjoy and get closer to the AFCON home. Unfortunately, we have a lot of worries at home because Dr. Motsepe may be so interested in what is happening on the other side of the Mongo, but he hasn't realized what is happening on the other side of the bridge. Because while we are thinking that we are hosting the AFCON come 9th of January 2022, it's also important to note that the government, while thinking that the start of Limbe, it's okay, and Boya, it's okay, but the security threat is still very much alarming, because while people will be in the field, in the pitch, trying to watch the 22 players running after the one round object, others might be watching and dodging bullets. It's a clear fact.
And a cause of concern.
Of course, we think
on
that
social media threats keep coming.
Yes,
and threats not to minimize.
Yes, we think that lives matter.
Yes,
and
they do.
The government may be taking the threats lightly, but we do not take it very, very, very lightly, because the life of everyone matters. I do not think that Cameroonians themselves we like to see the Indomitable Lions playing in Limbe, because there are a lot of threats coming from there. And I think there's so much money that the government is going to spend on security is going to still downplay on them, because while we're thinking that the infrastructures are ready, the security threat remains there, and the government is going to spend so much on security.
Unfortunately, on the very controversial issue of the AFCON to be or not to be in Cameroon, when you looked keenly at the reasons advanced for it to be or not to be, you will realize that the security issue was really pushed to the third or probably the fourth position. We had issues of the sporting structures not being fully ready. We had issues of the health crisis, the COVID-19 linked to the variant, the Omicron variant. And of course, Patrice Motsepe today did not talk much about the health, but though he said that they were going to stand on the issue of presenting a negative test result of 24 hours maximum before you get into. But on the question of the structures, he tried to make some comparison with Wembley, saying that he has been to Wembley, seeing it not fully as perfect as someone would want it to be.
Yes, a job is never 100% done. That's a fact. We are working with humans, and humans.
But is that an excuse that should be given?
It's not an excuse. Like
especially for a country that has had the opportunity or was supposed to host this competition in
2019. You know, COVID-19 was an opportunity for Cameroon to better host the AFCON. 2019, from 2014 to 2021 is 7 years, enough time that Cameroon should have prepared. And when you talk about him taking security to the third place, that's how less important human life has become in Cameroon. Human lives don't matter. It doesn't matter if who dies or who dies. People have their objective, and all they want is to achieve that objective. Unfortunately, our lives are being used as guinea pig for experiment. That's a sad story for me.
The question I got from social media users, actually on my official pages, somebody came with images of sporting infrastructure, a stadium in Oyem that's in the neighboring Gabon, one of the complexes that hosts matches, at least quarterfinals matches of the AFCON. That was in 2017. It was completely abandoned, and somebody asked me this question, that while all this energy, actually what development does this sport, especially football, really brings that much energy and resources be put into this way?
Football is a universal. Football is like a universal language. Normally, it brings a lot of development. That one is a fact, because especially with the AFCON, where we're going to be hosting 25 countries in 24. I beg your pardon, in Cameroon, the tourism industry has to swell, and the investments they pay for a long time, because you know that when your start is built for now till it continues and the process, yes, and it's income generating.
Of course, that one will be a good fact if it's used continuously.
If it's used continuously,
and one will, if somebody has to imagine that billions of francs CFA pumped into the Olympic Sports Complex, and shortly after the competition it's abandoned. Do you think that the purpose and actually the money used there can be gotten only within the AFCON period?
That's the poor mentality of Africans who are used to doing investment and abandoning. But of course, it's our mentality it's our duty and our right to understand that what we are constructing is an investment, and we should use it for creation of income. If we cannot use it, we do not expect a neighbor next door to come and tell us that.
And probably this poor management of issues is one of the reasons why we are having difficulties today. Cameroonian families are having difficulties, complaining of the lack of money, but the continuous rise in prices of basic commodities. You just watch a report of the concern on chicken, and it's the same report with other basic commodities.
Of course, Cameroon, with the situation, it's not like there is no money in the country. It's like the money is in few pockets. That's the fact. Okay. And talking about the price increase, it's alarming for me. If you go to the market, sometimes you realize that so much money is chasing very few goods. And I read a release by the minister Luc Magloire Mbaruga Tangana, who says the delegates of his ministry should try to control the prices of goods and services around their periphery. Unfortunately, he fails to state to us what are the main prices are needed, because you realize that the prices of oil, rice, beef, and cement is increasing so high. You realize that maybe granite oil that used to be sold at 1,200 francs is now sold at 1,500 or 1,600 francs. That's almost an increase in say 25%, which is really high. However, you should understand something, that normally during festive period, it's normal that prices of goods and services will increase due to the fact that demand will exceed supply. Okay. And if we really want to cut down the cost, we do not cut down the cost by speeches. I would say that what the minister's communique fell short of was that he did not state to us what the official prices are, because the prices vary from one place to another. In one place it is 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, and it's quite high. The minister should have come out with a better communique to tell us that a liter of groundnut oil should be sold for 1,150 francs, and not telling the people, because most people who will come for the price control will only come to swell their December pocket. It's a fact. So the minister did not tell us that this is how prices, yes, these are the prices
that needs to be respected. So you raise, so the Cameroonians can raise an
raise an alarm to go to the stores and say that I'm not going to pay more than this. That's where we had a weakness. However, I think too that if we want to control the prices of goods and services, the cost should be the cost, because the cost of production too counts here. And the prices should be stated, and also the government should really check its price and tax policy, because you realize that unfortunately our VAT is 19.25% comparatively to Nigeria, which is just at 5%.
Thank you very much, Song Terik. We unfortunately have come to the end of this edition of the news.